Hello and welcome to our project for International Management 328. My name is Michael Orchowski. Other later presenters will also be Robert Boone and Liam O'Grady. Our project is on Blake Salataburger in China. The project will focus on two major components. The first component being the feasibility of an entrance of Blake's Lotaburger into Chinese markets, and the second component will be the plan for entry of Blake's Lotaburger into Chinese markets. Thank you. In the first part of the feasibility study, we will focus on the societal differences between Chinese and American culture. And one large difference is cultural distance between the two. Chinese culture is a very collectivist society. It is focused on group norms, group identity, and a common group goal. A good example of this is how meals are typically served family style in Chinese culture versus individual style in American culture. And also, Chinese culture is a very high context society. Now, this means that they rely heavily on unspoken bonds and words and expressions and trust. A good example is that Chinese businesses prefer to not have lawyers involved in contract talks until the last phase, particularly because they use the initial talks to develop trust between the two business partners, unlike the United States. The second is institutional distance. The largest difference between US and Chinese institutional distance is the fact that Chinese government is a one-party communist government. This means total control. And what this also means is that a large amount of businesses are state owned and media is state owned. So businesses need to be aware of the government's opinion of them because they can't control the flow of information through the media and flow of information along the lines of the internet. So here we will focus on a few potential roadblocks for US companies doing foreign business in China, and they will all focus around political implications. And the first major issue is the relationship with trade partners. And it is public knowledge, it's been in the news for quite a while, that the United States and China have been in a trade war going back and forth, making demands, sanctions, imposing tariffs, and how this can affect US businesses doing foreign business inside Chinese borders is that a lot of businesses in China that are foreign are joint ventures and are partly owned by the state in China. So if the relationship with the US is not good politically, it can make it very difficult for American business to succeed inside of China. They have trouble getting the products that they need. They have trouble marketing their business because if the Chinese government is not happy with US politicians and trade policies, they can favor domestic businesses over foreign. They can censor marketing campaigns and the internet. And the third major factor is that the success of the majority party in China is always more important than that of business. So, what we mean is that the Communist Party is always going to want to stay in power. And one big issue here is that as American companies and foreign companies enter Chinese markets, the Chinese are constantly fighting off ethical imperialism of foreign companies. Now, this means that the rules of the game in other countries are not the rules of the game in China. And the Chinese politicians will enforce their own policies at the expense of business for them and their policies to stay in power. So here we will focus on a couple of advantages that can improve the feasibility of our entrance of Blake's Lotaburger into Chinese markets. And first, we'll focus on the vast history of regional flavor profile surveys. Now, this has been done by other companies such as KFC and McDonald's, and we can use the information and sort of take a look at other restaurants' menus and spiciness levels and meat ingredients and other elements to get a good idea of how we need to change Blake's menu when entering the Chinese market. Secondly, we can also look at these other restaurants' previous business models and take a chapter out of their book and how to operate Blake's Lottaburger in Chinese markets. And we can take a good look at KFC and how they changed their restaurant style when they set up KFCs in Chinese markets. Now, this is a change in design and structure and philosophy of how people eat at KFC. They have large in their menus with more items. They have large in the restaurants, and they have made it more of a community style of restaurant versus the American individualistic takeout style of restaurant.
Starting in the early 90s, China had a leadership change that made them more receptive to foreign business. And through this, they became more inclined to capitalism and improved their infrastructure all around, including roads, so the things that would deliver the product to our restaurants and that nature. Other American restaurants have successfully taken advantage of this infrastructure. Knowing that these connections are available is a definite advantage because we can take advantage of the precedence that's already been set by the previous companies and probably relationships that they've built with other American companies, and know that we are along the same lines in terms of what we mean and what we want to bring to China. China has a population of nearly 1.4 billion people. This is absolutely a massive market that if you can tap into and become successful in, it's pretty much as good as it gets in terms of the amount of people you can reach. So for a plan for entry, we feel that Yum Brands is a good company to come under. They currently are in charge of KFC, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut in China, and they've been providing the services that have helped enable those companies to succeed in China. We feel that if we could come under that umbrella, it would be a strong logistics network, suppliers, distributors, and it would really increase our ability to be successful in the network or in the market. So Blake's is really well known for their green chili cheeseburgers, but this is a regional product to New Mexico and surrounding areas. We feel that green chili in particular is something that China does not have currently and that they may really enjoy. It could be the next best great product in China and become a huge hit and increase revenues and profits and equity for Blake's. So because they're missing that, we feel that you could be able to fill that hole. Blake's also has strong, regionally well-known products that we feel would do well in the Chinese market, especially seasoned fries, burritos, milkshakes. These are all fantastic products that do really well here in New Mexico. And we feel that maybe just entering into the Chinese market, you never know, it could become very popular over there too. So in the question of a wholly owned or a joint venture, we feel that a wholly owned subsidiary operation would mix a lot more than joint venture, as a joint venture would require 50% stake by the government. This would limit our potential for equity as well as limiting the amount of control that Blake's would have over the entire operation. So the benefits of a wholly owned, however, on the other hand, is that, this has been found through several companies that Yum Foods has been partnering with, that they have done this before as well. So we feel that partnering with them would give us that strategy. So Blake's would have operational control over their products and services and the ability to coordinate with the parent company and change products as they feel fit.
Scale of entry refers to the amount of resources we are willing to commit to enter the new market. Since we plan on partnering with the Chinese subsidiary of Yum Brands, we'll have a significant monetary backbone that will allow us to create restaurants all over the country. Yum China has already created hundreds, if not thousands, of American restaurants all over China, from your Taco Bells to your KFCs to your Pizza Hut. It goes without saying that their experience will be invaluable to helping us spread Blake's Lottaburger to the nation of China. We plan on entering China with a relatively low number of restaurants, around 100. However, if they prove to be lucrative, we plan on increasing that number of stores over time. When you ask an American to think about a fast food restaurant, they often conjure up images of a cheap, rundown building where the employees are rude and just want to take your money and get you out of there as quickly as possible. However, American brands like KFC in China are considered to be high class, sit down restaurants with excellent customer service. The concept of high quality customer service is relatively foreign in China. As such, we plan to create a restaurant that caters to customers' needs and offers very high quality service. The goal is to make the restaurant a welcoming place for customers so that they want to come to the restaurant. Additionally, internet cafes are hugely popular in China. As part of our plan, we intend on creating an internet cafe section in our restaurants where customers can access computers, do whatever they need to do, and hopefully stay long enough that they want to purchase more food. The Chinese market and culture is unique, and therefore requires its own unique marketing strategy. It goes without saying that traditional American marketing strategies wouldn't be very successful in China. Many American restaurants have already adapted their marketing strategy and their menus to match the contrasting culture of China. For example, American restaurants will often offer breakfast porridge in China. This wouldn't be very successful in America because we don't think of breakfast porridge as a American food. However, it's hugely successful in China. We plan on doing the same tweaks to our branding and menu in order to be more successful. Currently, mobile ads are the leading method of reaching consumers in China. They are hugely successful and they are relatively easy to make. Yum China already works with numerous Chinese advertising agencies. This experience would be invaluable to us and we would definitely take advantage of it to create a marketing strategy that would work.